One, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a hoops journey with what we like to call in this show. We have a triple OG certified episode 170. Everybody knows the resume. If you've clicked the link and have started this episode, then you know the name. But do you know the lineage? Do you know how far the name goes back? Do you know that this is a young man who's celebrating a day off his 33rd birthday? We find him in a small hotel in Romania on his day off, well, with a game tomorrow. So we do appreciate his time. Um, he also hit the over for me in the 2015 NCAA tournament. I was in Seattle watching him ball against North Dakota State that year. Not that I promote gambling, but thank you to this gentleman for doing that. I think he had, I looked it up today, had a light 23 and a win in that game. A national champion from Kentucky to Gonzaga, Gatorade Player of the Year, Oregon, now back playing with our national team, which is super fantastic, carving out an amazing overseas career. We have none other than Mr. Kyle Wiltjer with us today. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm great. I appreciate it. You're a natural, man. You must do this full time, huh?
Yeah, I wish. Like I just told you, I mean, if someone was willing to hit us up and sponsor it, we do it full time. But my wife does get tired of me being extroverted and a bit of a loudmouth, so it's kind of nice to use it for some good. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, no, I understand. And hey, and who knows, maybe I'll see what sponsors I can throw your way.
Get you and Pangos. I mean, Pangos was episode 100. You're episode 170. I mean,
There
we've
we
got
go.
some Gonzaga lineage now. Hopefully, a KO on here one day. We had Big Robbie, Big Sacre. So, lots of really good guys. How are things with you, man? We appreciate your time. Happy belated birthday. Um, are you, on a birthday, do you give yourself time to reflect and look back on your life and how things are going along, being a father of young kids and traveling and moving around and yeah, kids learning Italian at a young age? Or are you just sort of like another day, another dollar, and let's keep it moving?
No, you definitely I think this game of basketball, it doesn't stop. So you're always got the next game, always the next training. So it doesn't stop. But me and my wife, we really do love to slow down and experience the different cultures that we live in. And we've been getting some great Italian dinners out here. And like you said and mentioned, my daughter's soaking up the Italian culture. So for us, like it was a special day just together and just be able to settle down and realize, this game of basketball has given us pretty much everything physically we own, but all these special memories that come with it.
I was explaining to our athletic director because I use his office to for meetings. Shout out to James. I always kick him out for these when I get the chance. We were talking about the overseas experience, right? And sort of he was asking who you got in the episode now, and I was telling him who you were and your resume a little bit, and just sort of like, and Pangos reflected on a little bit of his episode of like, yeah, the pinnacle's the NBA, but like the experience you get being overseas that you've touched on already, and the things that you get to do, it's like yeah, sure, the NBA, but you're not traveling around America. It's like you're having one of the best friggin' cappuccinos or espressos in the entire world if you want. You know what I mean? And how unique that is, and that you get paid pretty well for what you do, and you get to share all these experiences. Melvin reflected that a lot too on his episode, having his family and sharing and seeing different cultures. And it sounds like you guys are fully diving into all that, which is great.
Yeah, no, I mean it's I've been very lucky to play in some amazing places. And like you said, yeah, there's basketball wise, I as a little kid always dreamed of the NBA, and to say I was able to do it for a year was a great honor for me and my family. And then just being in Europe, getting all these different experiences. I've got to live in Spain and Italy, Greece, Turkey, China, and it just these memories I'm making now that I have a family, they're hitting a little different because I got
Yeah.
two young girls. And but no, it's a special place. And it's funny because I have a lot of NBA friends still, and they hit me up on a lot of my Instagram stories and they can't believe it. Last season James Harden came to Venice, Italy, and he was like asking me tons of questions about my team. And it was like he was so interested that I was playing in that city. And so it was really
Hmm.
cool. He's got all the money in the world, all the stuff, but he was just soaking up some of my stories as well. And it made me feel good and made me realize how blessed I am to see the world.
Yeah, no doubt, man. What's your vibe like as a dad? I have a 8-year-old. He'll be 9 in November. You seem like a pretty kind of, laid back when you need to. Do you find yourself, are you different as a father? Like I find myself, we kind of parent how we were parented, and God bless my dad. He was pretty hard on me and he was strict. And so like, just sort of navigating through that. What's that part of life like for you? And do you find yourself kind of changing and molding yourself as a father as well?
For sure. I think my natural instinct is to let them get away with more than they probably should. And I hear
It's
it from
on
my
wax.
wife.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you put it on wax. Here we go.
I hear it from my wife, and no, but it's finding that line of making sure that they know, hey, creating a foundation for their life and knowing that there's rules here. You got to put on your school shoes, and you can't wear whatever you want. So
Yeah.
it's been cool to see, like, myself just kind of figure it out. But it's like you said, you just never truly figure it out, but you just
Mhm.
try to do your best and show them love.
No doubt. And I'm sure you guys are doing a great job, man. We're all just trying our best, right? Just my buddy always says, just trying to keep it between the ditches, you know? Just, you know.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, before we talk about you and the lineage, man, how's it been? How's that last little window with Canada? Let's give him a shout out right off the bat. James DePoe, right, our guy, has was the link up here, and I every now and then periodically I reach out to him and I say, okay, who's on the team right now that would be a good, and you're the name that kind of came up. But how did it feel to sort of be back there doing that window thing and representing Canada, and I know that I've heard you on other podcasts, kind of just reflecting on that, being excited to sort of back in the mix and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's been an interesting journey and
Hmm.
one that roots way back. My dad, when I
Hmm.
was 10 years old, I didn't realize the significance of getting a Canada passport when I was little, growing up in the States. And for me, it was all I saw growing up is pictures of my dad with Canada jersey. He's very
Hmm.
patriotic, celebrates all the holidays. And so it was, part of our family day to day. But that kind of led me through a journey. I got to play senior national team in some big events, World Cup, and then some coaching changes, and there was a period of time where I wasn't part of the program, and it hurts, but it
Hmm.
doesn't change the love and support I had. I watched every game, so I'm I'm invested, in the program, and I stayed locked in. I stayed watching, stayed talking to my dad, about it. And then when we got the new coach this summer, we're trying to shake some things up and make some alterations. And a huge part to be successful, which I agree strongly with, is you have to kind of play more FIBA style. And
Yeah,
so
man.
that's a big theme that's moving forward. And I'm a guy who's played in FIBA for shit 10 years now. So I bring a lot of experience, and obviously I think I have a skill shooting that helps the team, but to be validated and be asked to join the program again, it was an honor, and I felt
Hmm.
like I'm in great shape, and I was in a good moment this summer to join them. So I joined them again, and it was nothing better because, I mean, even guys like James, and those are relationships you build over not just one year, but multiple summers. So getting to see that family and getting to see familiar faces, and then going to Canada camp, and we just hired a new coach, and you see guys like Shea in the building, Dylan Brooks, these guys that are a part of the core program. They're there just for a meeting, to
Hmm.
meet with people and show that leadership. When you have one of the best players in the world showing up, it shows a lot about him as a person, but it shows a lot about the program, where it's going. So for me, it was a blessing to be a part of that moment this summer, and I'm very fortunate to be asked again to play in the windows. So I hope I can bring that veteran leadership as much as I can, whether I play 1 minute or 20 minutes. I just want to be there for the team and for the program, because I just want to see them be successful, whether I'm a player, fan, or coach someday. Who
Hmm.
knows? So I'm just here and happy to be a part of it.
Is it crazy to call yourself a vet? Like, is that weird to you? When you
Yeah,
look at these
yeah,
other dudes, you're like, damn, is it really that much? I mean, you're still young. Don't get it twisted.
yeah.
But like compared
No,
to, yeah,
it's crazy because I've somehow I'm a very sneaky vet. Not a lot
yeah.
of people give me a hard time yet, but with
Because
my
you got the
birthday being,
nice, you
yeah,
got the nice fade.
yeah,
You're looking good.
yeah.
Not too many, grays. Like
I
young
got a
looking
baby
face.
face, baby
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So I'm kind of like I'm kind of like the under the radar vet. But no, but like when you reflect on the journey, and I've realized all the teams I've been on and the experiences I've had, I do feel like that vet card is valid, because I do have the
Yeah.
experiences from different stories, different coaches, different styles, and I've seen a bunch of different even with the program, seen maybe three coaches now. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so for me, getting to see all that and just still be at the peak of my playing career, it's a good time for me personally. And it's been it's crazy. Yeah, I definitely am that vet now.
Hmm. Now, do you find too, like, the window you had, you're dealing with mostly guys that are over in Europe anyways, but like when those NBA guys come back, you talked about the having FIBA experience. And I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, uh, it's more than also just X's and O's like you in the, pick and pop or, sealing down low or whatever we're trying to run, but also the crowds, the officiating, the facilities. Like, do you feel like there's that element of that too that you can bring as well? Because these NBA guys, it's like a totally different style and format in all those areas, you know?
For sure, yeah. Some things you can't put into word, but that was a
Hmm.
very hot take. It's a familiarity.
Hmm.
I feel very comfortable on the FIBA floor and like those environments. I'm seeing so many every day.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a huge element. And I think with the guys, it's also it's how you're raised. These guys that play the FIBA game, they've been doing it since they were 10 years old.
Hmm.
It's not even, it's no knock on the NBA guys or what, but their
Of course.
talent is so high. And if you can mix that with, even if it's just a little incorporation of that FIBA mindset, it'll go a long way. But it's like knowing when to use your fouls and, just little things like that. And just knowing that each game's not going to be pretty because there's no space. NBA
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a game of spacing, and
yeah.
so it's not the same as FIBA. It's a lot of mismatches, more post ups. There's a ton of things you can go down the line, but it's just trying to pick the layers of the onion and knowing how to mix the talent with the style.
Hmm.
It's a challenge that is no one has that perfect formula.
For sure. And props to you, man. I mean, you get long in your career, a little longer, you're, double digits now, and there, there's every reason for you to sort of look back and go, you know what? And props to all the guys and women over the years that have stepped in when they get the call, when they necessarily could easily say no, and I want to rest my body, or this is family time, or whatever. And I think it says a lot about hoopers when they get a call like that it's really about the purity of the game for them. And then especially when you go back to your lineage and you talk about your dad, who's if you're a triple OG, I don't know what to call him without aging him too bad, but like, a 84 Olympian, like just, you know, many people told me to try to get him before you, but whatever, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. But just talk a little bit more about that experience. You touched on it. You've touched on it before, but just for the listeners, how unique of experience you had. You didn't have to go to prep. You know what I mean? Like you had the prep in your back door, and you had a high level program, and were playing and seeing that American model right away, and talk about what that was like for you just as a young guy. And was it always basketball? Like always? Was there another choice?
Yeah, I mean, my wife gives me a hard time because I tell her to this day I could be in the MLB.
Oh yeah,
I bring that confidence, but then she always puts me in my place because she asks me when the last year I played was, and I tell her sixth grade.
yeah.
So she
What
gives me a
position
hard
though?
time. I was a pitcher.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
So
you're like the big unit up there,
yeah,
6'10", just
exactly.
yeah,
That was my idol, and I
yeah.
loved playing baseball. Yeah, I loved Randy Johnson, and but no, basketball's
Okay,
been ever
so hang
since.
on, let me cut you
Yeah.
off. Are you a Mariners guy?
Well, I'm a Northwest guy,
Yeah,
so
dude, it's
I
okay.
kind of grew up. I wasn't like a big baseball watcher
Sure.
necessarily.
Yeah.
I just loved to play the game.
Don't
But
get me
yeah,
politically correct here. Come on. Listen, I'm not a big Canada's team guy here either, man.
yeah, yeah,
It's the Cubs or the Mariners. I was heartbroken last night. And all those Blue
yeah,
Jays
yeah,
fans, they can suck it. If you're listening to this,
yeah,
suck it. Take your win. Enjoy your win.
yeah,
Congratulations. I don't
yeah,
want to hear it. Don't give us the
yeah.
politically correct. What you got? Come on. You're Pacific Northwest-ish. You know what I mean?
I
Close enough. Come on.
the real truth of the matter is I watched the Portland Trailblazers 24/7. I was
Okay.
a diehard fan.
Respect.
I didn't watch any full baseball games. I was locked in
It's
on
fair.
just how my dad growing up was a hockey player until 18.
Okay.
He was locked in, didn't even play basketball until he was 18.
Wow.
I was just a straight basketball guy. So
Who are some of your favorite Blazers all time?
oh man, I grew up watching Rasheed Wallace.
Oh, baby.
I wear 33 because we actually had Scottie Pippen on the Blazers.
Yes, you did.
People always think it was because of Larry Bird, but I was a big Scottie Pippen fan.
Yes.
But now Damon Stoudemire, although
Bonzi
that
Wells.
Bonzi Wells, yeah.
Man, what
You
a
you know your
squad.
hoops. You know your hoops.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna call them the Jailblazers because I don't like that term,
Yeah.
man. They
We
got labeled wrong. Those guys could
yeah,
really hoop, man.
yeah,
That was a fun time for Portland hoops.
for sure. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
my childhood. So
yeah.
those times were good.
And dope to see Dame back, doing his thing. I think it's a great way for him to go out. So, um,
Exactly.
now you're growing up, you're playing hoops. Like, did you ever imagine that it was going to go as well as it did for you? And what's that relationship like with you and your dad? You said I'm actually reading a book right now about specialization and when do we specialize and is it too early and stuff like that. So you talked about your own father who, flourished as a hooper but played hockey till he was 18. So what are the conversations around the dinner table like for you? Is it dad pressuring? Is he letting it come organically from you and how you started to separate basketball for yourself?
He guided me in the direction of like with the Canada influence and getting the passport and that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
in terms of the year to year, we really, I didn't gain, I'd say, great basketball confidence until high school or sophomore year. We were just trying to get better every year. So he helped
Okay.
me get better on my. He's a big influence on my post game, my shooting. Actually, he never shot the ball, but he sent me to shooting camps. And I mean, we watched in the States. You have the varsity team and the JV. My
Hmm.
freshman year, they put me on the JV, and I think I was averaging like 40 points a game. And my dad and I watched the varsity game, and he would just ask me, but it was genuine. Just, do you think you could play varsity? And like we would literally just sit there and think like, yeah, I think so. Like it
Hmm.
wasn't like I should be out there, or we just took every year at a time. And midway through the year, they bumped me up to varsity, and I took off after that. And then it was like, just try to get a scholarship at first. And one of the first offers was his alma mater, Oregon State. And then from there, I just won a couple state championships, and then the recruiting amped up, and yeah, so like he really just let it organically happen, and it kind of just by just staying in the moment and trying to get better. And it's cliche, but it's really what
Hmm.
happened. And then getting to college, and then obviously playing in some amazing D1 programs, which
Yeah.
then catapulted me after that.
He just casually drops a couple state championships in there for the
Yeah.
listeners, just one or
For
two.
shout
I
out to
think, yeah.
Oregon. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oregon State.
Where did they play the state championship?
We played the first one. There was three. We
Yeah.
had the first one at the original Matt Court at University of Oregon.
Okay.
They had this really vintage arena, and then we did the last two at the Rose Garden, which was
Oh,
the
nice.
the the now
Yeah.
the Moda Center
Yeah.
Blazers gym.
Moses Center's great. I
Yeah.
went when I was in high school. I did the Oregon State camp. It was great. Stayed overnight for the
Okay.
week. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
dope, man.
Yeah.
It was right in. It was 92. It was the same time the Dream Team was playing, and it was hot as a pistol there, man. And like some days you'd have to play in the outdoor court. And it wasn't
Yeah.
light. Like we were doing skills and drills and staying over. It was fun. It was a
Yeah.
good experience, man.
Yeah.
And then you talked about sort of just letting it be organic and what a resource to have in your father just to sort of lean on through all that stuff. But at any point, was it getting a little overwhelming? I mean, you get so much, it sounds like things really started to click for you at a young age, but then it kind of just your whatever you call it, your scale is like takes off really rapid. How do you work through that? And in the end, decide when you're a high level major, like you're not a mid major guy. We're talking Kentucky national championships here. Um, was there anybody super close other than Kentucky?
Yeah. I mean, it was Kentucky. My mom was a huge advocate for Stanford.
Here we go. Okay, yeah. So the lineage, yeah, we got a
Stanford.
lot.
I
Yeah,
want, yeah, Oregon. Oregon was my favorite growing up, but they went through a coaching change, and so I wasn't familiar with their new coaching staff. And then that's one of my assistants went to Kentucky, who then I got them on the trail late. They came
hmm
in late, and then obviously Gonzaga, and then there was UCLA, West Coast School, and there was a Canadian lineage to Texas as well. So Texas
Okay.
was in there. But no, the reason I went to Kentucky was very easy. It was just I wanted to make myself as uncomfortable as I could and
Mm.
be around NBA players. They didn't have any shooters going there, so I told myself if I'm trying for the NBA, I might as well try and put myself around those type guys every day, and maybe I can ride that wave with them. And a huge part of, my whole career and story has been because of that experience, because on paper Gonzaga was probably a better fit for the way I played and the style, but I ended up going to Kentucky to really try to make the NBA. And I went there, and it gave me that confidence, because even going to Gonzaga from there, um, I made a lot of valuable connections in Nike and the basketball world, and it was extremely valuable experience. But then going to Gonzaga, I really felt how suited that program was for the way I played inside out. I
Mm-hmm.
modeled my whole year after Kelly
Yep.
Olynyk, because he did his redshirt year there, and I saw a program in place that worked, and I took it, and then got the best of both worlds. I got 2 years at the one school and 2 years at another, so I kind of split it down the middle.
Yeah. Love the part about just sort of making yourself uncomfortable. What is it your junior season where you're thinking NBA? Or is it kind of, like when does that something where you're like, this isn't just like the dartboard, this is like a drive, this is a focus for me.
Yeah, I had a really strong junior year, that I actually graduated my undergrad. So technically, I didn't have any required school left that I, wanted to set out. I wanted to
Hmm.
be the first person in my family to get my degree. And so I was able to get that. And then I basically, I just figured, hey, this is a good time to declare for the draft. And if I don't make it, I'm going to be able to go overseas and make a lot of money.
Hmm.
And Gonzaga showed up my door the next day when they heard I was thinking about it, and they
Hmm.
begged me to come back. And unfortunately, it was non-NIL time, so I did not get any money to go back. But I got a great, amazing last year, very fulfilling. I had another good NCAA run, worked on my game even more, and got to finish my master's degree, which I'll be able to have the rest of my life. So
Nice
it was
work,
great.
man.
Yeah. So I stayed the course. I stayed the whole 5 years of eligibility. I took every last eligibility second out there.
Masters in what?
Master's in business
Yeah, boy.
administration. Yeah.
I got my
Yeah.
master's
So
from Gonzaga too, my guy.
I did not know that. That's a
In
great.
Yeah, they came up to our school, and they
Okay.
offer we're a Catholic private school. They offered it to all Catholic
Okay.
high school teachers. There's about 12 in our total cohort. Yeah, it's in
Hmm.
leadership and administration. Yeah,
That's
man.
big time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was every
It's
second week. It
yeah,
was dope.
the
We got to go
leadership.
down there for grad. It was great.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah, because I didn't do it, but I had done the full application to do the doctorate's leadership program there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gotten a little busy off the court with some real estate adventures, so I never got
Oh,
around to doing
okay.
that. Yeah,
That boy.
never got around to the doctorate program, but I'm technically admitted.
I mean, one day, Dr. Wiltjer, that's got a nice ring to it,
Yeah,
you know?
it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
But 7 years of my life might be a little too much.
Right?
Yeah.
My wife's got her doctorate, and I'm like, I am not calling you Dr. Mitchell. Get out of here. It's no
Oh,
chance.
you
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way, man. It took enough just for her to take my last name when we got married,
Oh,
man. I'm
for
not gonna,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about this sort of the spoils of riches of like, yeah, you go to a place like Kentucky where it's just what was the first, what were the major things you noticed after high school basketball and then Kentucky? Like, what were the things that you stepped on court? Was it the amount of training that gets done? Was it the off court stuff? Was it, what were the things that stood out to you where it was like, damn.
I mean, Kentucky, I think the biggest thing is that program, and Coach Cal, one of the best things he does is he brings a bunch of guys in there that that think they know how to work hard, and you work. You get in the best shape of your life, and you're grinding there and playing, and he gets you to play and run through a wall for him. To this day, I love that guy. He supported me through my whole career.
Mm,
But that's one experience that when I got there, I was like, I thought I knew what hard work was until I got there. When you're running 20 suicides in 20 minutes, and you're doing all the conditioning, and on top of that you're doing school, and they're checking that you're there. Like, that's the biggest misconception of Kentucky is, oh, they don't go to class. No, you had someone walking you to class, and if you didn't go to class, you're running or you're on the Jacob's
really?
ladder. I don't know
Yeah.
if you know what a Jacob's ladder is.
Not just a song.
It
Talk
is
to me.
a
Yeah.
revolving ladder like this. It's at a angle, 45-degree angle, and there's a ladder that revolves, and you're having to climb up it like this. So every minute you're late to class, you got to do a minute on the Jacob's ladder. So when I got there, I think the other thing that surprised me is like I knew I could play with these guys. I think just the biggest thing that held me back was the athleticism.
Hmm.
Everyone is so fast, so strong, and so athletic. And I had a great 2 years there, and it was amazing. But every year it's the same thing: get in amazing shape, get the best recruits in. And I think it was time for a change, and that's why I picked Gonzaga because I knew that system was catered for a guy, a trail four who can shoot and post up. And for me, Gonzaga, you have an off night, it's the next man up. That's kind of Coach Cal's philosophy, which is great. But at Gonzaga, I wanted to go there because at the time I felt if I'm having an off night, we're going to lose, and so
Hmm.
I wanted that responsibility and
Hmm.
that pressure. And I think that was the next step of growth that I needed to take. And I think it's really helped me a lot as a professional overseas, because overseas, you're not really a specialist per se. You kind of have to be a well-rounded basketball player.
Sure.
So that's another thing that's unique about the FIBA style is you got to be able to do it all. It's a
Yeah.
team game over here.
Yeah. I remember one of my good friends, he played in a bunch of places, but one of his first stories was like, yeah, like he gets ripped baseline, anticipating
Mhm.
the help to be there, and he looks, and dude's just like still guarding his own guy, and he's like, "Yo, man, what are we doing here? Like, this is pro hoops, man." So it's like, yeah,
Right.
but the FIBA game for sure. Um, I mean, obviously, it's interesting now. You're talking about pre NIL and everything, and you're making like a school and business decision because you're like, this is where I'm going to flourish the best for my game.
Mhm.
How much impact or how much did you know about Kelly's story? Because he took such a major risk too, right? Like I believe, didn't he take a year out after his junior season?
I think so, or
Yeah, and
something
then
something
like, which
mid-season.
is like, what? Which
Yeah.
nothing. And then look at the career he's been able to carve out, right? And we all know the story of Gonzaga and the Canadian history, but forget the Canadian history, just the job that Coach Few's been able to do, just a perennial powerhouse. And again, you talked about that putting your pressure on yourself. Where'd that come from? Do you know where that came from? Was it something you always just put
Um,
on to you, or just sort of when you're in high school, you were the guy, so it just became natural and you wanted more of that, you think?
yeah, exactly. And I think that the system is what really drew me in. And then I also had Pangos there, which
Shout
I
out.
the summer before we were playing for Canada, I think in the it was like World University Games or something, and we were together. And I just I love playing with him, so that was a huge plus. And then I just thought of the system and everything that was pitched to me the first time around. And then yeah, the redshirt program, like Kelly completely changed his game into an All-American out of nowhere. And I was very familiar with that story. And so, I did my research, got on the phone with the coaches, and Coach Cal was very supportive of it. He's like, I want you back, but if you want to call them and see what's up, you can. Like, and so I did that all under the radar. I didn't really open my recruitment up. I just said,
Mm.
I want to go here. And they were super amped about it.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was a humbling experience though, because it's like you go from Kentucky where you can't really go anywhere without anyone recognizing you. And
Yeah.
I redshirt year at Gonzaga, I would, the team would travel and I would had to stay back. And so I would sometimes go to the bar with a couple of friends and people would be like, "Oh, you a Zag fan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, like I
Yeah, big fan. Yeah.
love the Zags, man."
I play local
And
men's league here. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So it was great though, because I just got lost in the work. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I got to even becoming a recruit in the first place. I was back to the basics and went, worked on, I got to meet with them and tell them all my insecurities as a player, and we just worked on them the best we could,
Hmm. Hmm.
by not ignoring what I do well, but just working on the weaknesses. And so yeah, so Gonzaga was perfect for me and really changed the way I played.
Hmm. Uh, isn't there a bar there where like you like tape like dollar bills to the walls and stuff? Isn't there one there? Do you remember?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I just remember that there's a classic shout out to Jack and Dan's.
Okay.
That's a classic one.
We hit a few
But
spots on my when we were for the Masters, but as a blur, they were late nights and an early morning for grad ceremony. So
gotcha, love
I
it.
swear there was like something there, like
Yeah,
something was being pasted to the roof, but
yeah,
it was a good little bar district. It was fun.
for sure.
Give us a quick little reflection. Obviously, knowing two super high level coaches, I've seen Coach Few a couple times at the Vegas clinic. Good old Tommy Lloyd's come up here a couple times to do some clinics as well. But what were the two sort of differences other than style you've touched about? And I think if anybody that follows hoops, you see Kentucky and the teams that Coach Cal coaches, you get his style, and then you see Coach Few and you understand what he is. But maybe personality wise, what were some things that you picked up on right away? And they don't have to be bad. Just curious about them as people because they seem like two different
Yeah.
people as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, they're very different. I mean, I think Coach Cal, he's always in the public eye and always very outgoing with everyone. And Coach Few, kind of look at him overall. He's probably gotten a ton of offers to leave Spokane, but he's so happy being in his with his land and his family. It's, both are obviously family men, but Coach Few is definitely a little doesn't have Instagram, he's off the
Yeah.
grid, and so
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest difference.
And that's probably much easier to do in a place like Spokane too, right? Like it's like you can pop over to the gorge for a concert and make back. And like you say, he's got his big property, and yeah,
For
it does give
sure.
you that advantage. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. When you look back on like where you're at in your career, um, what are some of do you have a wild story about like playing ball overseas? Is there a crazy crowd? Is there a crazy moment? Is there a crazy dunk? Is there something like when you get to write your book or when you're telling stories as an old head coaching local hoops, what's something that you could share that's pretty funny or good?
I have a ton of them.
Yeah,
Um,
you would go forever. Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean my rookie year alone, you're playing, I'm not really playing that much, but you're being a part of a program that at the time we were, I think, Western Conference semifinal. So you got James Harden, the leader of the ship, and it was a special year, just because I'm just thinking I'm a little guy, I'm the rookie, whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm doing my rookie duties, and when he finds out I have family in LA, and you finish a game in Denver on a Tuesday, and he asks you to if you want to go to LA that night, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, a bunch of guys might go, and then show up to the private jet, and it's just me and his friends.
Yo, you gotta complete that story. That's a great story.
No, it's just one of those things where you people just see these big time people and you think but they're just very regular, humble guys, and to be a part of those types of experiences I'll remember for the rest of my life, So
Love it.
taking private jets is a luxury that I'll always miss, you know, especially overseas on some of these small flights. And I don't
Oh
fit as
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
don't fit as well as his private jet.
I believe the correct term is PJ, right? Don't all the big
Yeah,
dogs call
PJ.
PJ? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
PJ.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It just shows. Yeah, I'm not versed in the terminology. I wish I was. Wish I was.
Now, listen, fully aware of time for you, so I do want to chop it up and
Yeah,
have
for
some
sure.
fun questions with you. And
Okay.
I know you got to get to your game, just prep and whatever. One question before we do that, though, when you reflect back a little bit, because I'm a high school coach still, trying to get back to the game. If there are a few nuggets of advice that you could give a young hooper, whether they're striving to make a U Sports team, Division One, or just become better at hoops, like what's a couple things that you could give away before we ask you what concert you want to see?
Man, I would say it's funny because I'm just stealing another man's line.
No problem.
But
That's how we
I
learn,
don't
though.
I don't
That's how
know if
we.
you're familiar with LeVar Ball,
Okay, here
but
we go. Oh no.
the biggest nugget in truth is stay in your lane. He says it all the time, but I have grown up and seen so many hoopers go down, so many that are in the NBA making 140 million that were right by my side,
Mm,
and it's You could be down. I could be sad I'm not making 100 million. Of course, I wish I was making 100 million, but I'm
Sure.
happy in my lane, and I'm in Italy, living my best life, trying to learn Italian with my daughter. So,
There you
um,
go.
and there's a ton of people below me that wish they were in my shoes. So I think stay in your lane is the best nugget I've heard.
I love it. Okay,
Yeah,
170 episodes. We've had no LeVar Ball references. So
yeah, yeah. Big
you're the
fan.
first. You're the OG big fan. Okay, are you a book or a movie guy?
I'm definitely a movie guy.
Okay. What's some all-timers you got? Like, is there a classic you go back to? Or there's something you now fully aware too, like if you're like my house, I'm lucky if I get the TV at all. And then by the time everybody's settled in, I'm ready to go to bed anyways because I'm old as
Yeah,
dirt. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah.
I would say the movie I always go back to. Well, my two favorite movies are Friday and Friday After Next.
Oh my
The one
guy.
is it? I think it might be Friday. Is it the Christmas one? It's not really Christmas, but is that maybe that's next Friday?
That's next Friday.
Next Friday. That one's my favorite because even if it's even December 1st, I'm running that back, and it's not
Love it.
really even yeah. It's an all time classic.
Come on, Craig. Man,
Yeah,
Debo, there's some
yeah.
characters in that, man. The dad,
Oh,
he's
it's a
freaking
classic.
hilarious in that.
It's
Yeah.
classic. Yeah,
When he's on the toilet, oh, what a scene.
yeah,
Smell
yeah,
your shit for 35 years. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe you and the wifey, you and the homies, you got the best seats in the house. You hop on the PJ to whatever arena for a concert. Who you gonna see? But they could be dead or alive. Like maybe you wanted to see them and didn't get to. Maybe you've seen them already and you're like, that's the best show I've ever seen. Give us an idea of like who you'd like to see live. Could be more than one as well.
Yeah. No, I was actually when I was in the training camp with the Raptors, I flew down to New York and I got to see Hove, Jay-Z perform in New York. And it was maybe the most epic because
Madison
one of my
Square?
it was like an outside
Barclays?
venue.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I don't know where exactly it was. I have to look it up on my phone. But
Okay.
anyways, long story short, it's a memory I wish I could recreate again. Because I was with my boy who's the biggest Jay-Z fan you'll ever meet. Shout out to Brandon, aka Butter Man.
But man,
Got to give the Butter Man a shout out. And he was rapping every line of every song. And to see New York the way they were, it was crazy. It was crazy. So
that's dope. I've seen
classic.
Jay-Z like four times too. Yeah.
Unreal.
Saw him with Kanye as well when they dropped that
Yeah.
album. But yeah, he's good. You forget like you know how many hits he's got, but
Right.
then you're like, damn, he's still going. So
Yeah.
but shout out to the Butterman.
Yeah.
Um,
You got to
uh,
you got to clip that and
yeah,
send it to me.
no problem.
Yeah.
Uh, you got a fave hoops shoe growing up? Is there an all-time classic that you like to play in?
Oh man, I've ever since a buddy of mine was working with Kobe, Kobe's I've been a Kobe hoop shoe fan forever.
Okay.
So then
No, it doesn't matter which one.
doesn't matter which Kobe, all the because the low tops for me are the best, and
Yep.
I've been hooping in Kobe since high school. So
There you go.
yeah.
Okay. Um, if you could have a dinner with a couple historical figures of any, they could be basketball related, they could be, doesn't matter, politicians, whatever, artists, who would you like to chop it up, have a nice Italian vino and chill, like a good conversation, not like surface level, like they're actually going to engage and you can maybe ask some questions they can ask back. Who would that?
I would say you got to throw Mike in there, MJ. Throw Jay-Z in there.
Okay.
Uh, Obama. Throw Obama in
Yes.
there. Some American history.
Yep.
Um, who else? Who else we going with? I think that's a solid little three right there for a good
Okay.
little Italian. They're not big tables, so in
Right.
Italy, so so we got to keep it intimate.
That'd be a decent time too. That'd be a
Yeah,
decent time.
yeah,
And then just
yeah.
follow MJ wherever he decides to go for post
Exactly. Have you
meeting.
heard?
Yeah.
Have you heard MJ has a show coming up? Is that
Y-
is that
I
something I saw?
yeah, I haven't I
Yeah,
did
I think which is going to be interesting because he's so mysterious with his
right.
appearances, and they're going to do shows on NBA NBC, which is interesting.
Wow.
So he'll have a show. Yeah,
You
I
see how
don't
that
have
goes.
I don't have any equity in it. I'm not shouting it
No.
out or
Yeah,
anything, but
yeah,
I'm very intrigued to see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned too, Hove, what's on the aux before games? Like, what are you listening to before we ask your last question?
Oh
We got to
man,
go.
got some Hove.
Yeah,
I got a lot of hood music. I'm a hood
sure.
guy, you
That's
know.
right. Yeah,
Gotta give me high Pop
yeah,
Smoke. He's a New York
yeah.
guy.
Pop Smoke. I like Pop Smoke.
Yeah, Pop Smoke. He gets me the most hype. And then I'm a West Coast guy. Larry June I'm a big
Larry
fan of
June's a
Larry
good
June.
vibe. He's a good vibe.
Um, and then I grew up in the Future era, Lil Wayne, a bunch of mix. And then some days I'm completely opposite, and I'll
Yeah.
just listen to my Italian playlist,
Oh,
and I'm just zenning out because I'm trying to flood my brain with movies, Italian
yeah.
music, everything.
So you can keep up with the
Um,
kids.
exactly. I can't keep
Yeah.
up with my daughter. She's speaking
Yeah.
to me perfectly, and so I'm trying to
Amazing.
keep up. Yeah, it's amazing. Kids soak up the language so
So
fast.
good for their brains too.
Yeah,
Like, and then
yeah,
it's funny you already say that. It's like when you get older, it's so much harder to learn it. Like we've done a
exactly. I got
couple
to try
trips.
10 times.
Yeah. Yeah,
10
we've done a
times is
couple trips
hard.
to Peru with we taken school kids and my wife and I took Spanish and like we'd get in the car after every time and just be like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like didn't pick up anything.
exactly.
Listen, man, we appreciate your time. We know you got to
Of
get ready
course.
for your game tomorrow. As you know, this rhymes. James DePoe was the connection faux show. So
There
how
we go.
who we got on a hoops journey? Who's a connect for you? Who's someone that you could text right after this episode and be like, "Yo, this guy was half decent. Chop it up. It'd be good to share your own journey." Who's out there that you think would be a good story for a hoops journey as we keep going on here? Almost coming up on 6 years of podcasts and episode 170. So who's out there for us?
Well, I'll flip the question right back at you.
Okay.
Who's your number one target?
Uh, I mean, we got to get Steve Nash on one day, right? Um,
That's a
he's
good one.
he's a text away with a few friends out here on the West Coast. I don't know if you know Andrew Mavis played on the 2000 national
Mhm.
teams, a buddy of
No,
mine, and
Steve's a
he's
text
some.
away for me too.
Yeah. So just let him
But
know. Let
no,
him know you had
yeah,
a good time. But now he's got a little more on his
yeah,
plate these days.
for
So that
sure.
he
I would say if it's not Steve, you got to go with my man KO. That guy's a legend. KO's a
okay,
good one.
okay,
Yeah,
so Garrett
there you
Garrett
go.
Blakey was just on the pod, and that's his guy
Yeah,
too. Now we
yeah.
know KO, you're low key. He might be even more low key,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Well, no,
So
yeah, this podcast is going to set me back a moment. I don't think I'll do any more appearances.
yeah, you got
I'm a low key guy as well.
okay,
But
good.
if Depot stamped it,
Yeah,
so maybe my stamp will get you KO. So
there you go.
eh,
Well, we
keep
appreciate
that.
you
I
stepping.
like what you're doing there. It's that's a smart play. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
You know, tell it to my wife. I do have a little intelligence, man.
exactly. I
Listen,
love
we
it.
appreciate your time. Continued success to
That's
you.
Dr. Mitchell too, by the way. You got to keep that in there.
Don't worry, she doesn't listen. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll clip
Okay.
up that part for her though.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
No
I
problem.
know this isn't like your whole jam, and I do appreciate you sharing your story. I think it's an important one. I think you're an all-time Canadian hooper, and it's an absolute pleasure to be able to get to know you a little bit more, to watch your success, to see you become a family man, and still continue to spread love for the game, represent Canada, and do your thing. Any last thoughts, ideas, or reflections before we let you go?
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate having me on. I just I guess the last thing is like go Canada basketball. I really mean it. Whether I'm a player, a fan, whatever. That's right now is a huge important piece of my life. I want to see Canada do well. So
Mhm.
let's as a collective, let's just all support the program and give them whatever they need.
Amazing. Good
Yeah.
luck in your season. Good luck being a father, husband, juggling all those things. Good luck tomorrow. Get some rest. All the best to you and keep in touch. KO, you're coming up next, whether you like it or not at some point.
Love it.
Episode 170, an absolute banger with a triple OG, and we'll see you on the next one.